Hit that.
1, 2, 3, whoop that trick.
Fancy Dave and Mike are back, the Art Bros, talking about some Jackson Pollock this week, or this day, or whatever, however fast we upload these things. So, Fancy Dave, talking about Pollock.
Pollock.
Do you like Pollock?
I like Pollock.
I like Pollock too, but I don't think people understand why we like him as an artist, because to the people who don't know,
this is that example of that guy saying, my kid can make that.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. You know what? The fact is, though, like, I've studied this so much and I've seen it in person so many times that I can understand why. I mean, I'm sorry. No. I meant the other way. I can't see it like that anymore. But to the people that aren't informed, let's just say that, or to the people who don't understand it, we're going to make you understand it. Alright, well, this is art for a reason, and we'll tell you why. So first off, this painting, this specific painting, is called 1 number 31 1950, made in 1950. Whoa. Big surprise there.
He was creative with his titling.
No, but that's for a reason. This is oil and enamel paint on canvas, and it's huge. It's 8 by 17 feet. And this one is the one in MoMA.
Yeah, I've seen this thing too.
Go stand in front of this thing.
Yeah.
And tell me your kid could do it. No, there actually is a very... when you first see something like this, I think people just tend to approach it cynically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very understandable.
Modern art. It never lasts.
Meh. Modern art.
Meh.
Psha psha. But anyways, let's talk about the title first. Number 1 number 31 1950. There's a reason that Pollock didn't like to name his works. In fact, the ones that do have names, like Lavender Mists and Autumn Rhythm, those were made by his friends and his colleagues afterward, and they kind of just stuck, and he was all right with that. But the reason he named them so openly, like sort of what is it? I forget. Anyways, he named it like that because he didn't want the title to define the piece. He wanted his work to be interpreted openly by everybody. So when you title it something, people start seeing it through that lens. You know, if this were titled, I don't know, Grapefruits and Soda,
yeah,
people would be like, oh, well, where's the grapefruits? Let's look for the grapefruits in there.
Yeah.
Or if it was titled, you know, the Atlantic Ocean.
Just focus on the image of this, not the thought of the title on this thing.
Yes, and I do. And that's actually very different from the work that I create, because I love titles. I hate when things are untitled. But the fact that it's not untitled, it has a name.
He's a man after my own heart. I've never titled anything for my own work either.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know about this. Art Bros discovering themselves here live on the show.
Not even signed my work.
No, you have to do that. Come on, man. I'm an art historian. I have to like.
Well, I don't sign it on the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Pollock sign his work?
I don't think so.
In fact, does he need to?
No.
It's pretty much anytime anyone sees splattered paint. By the way, people, this is called abstract expressionism.
Yeah.
Because it's called expressionism because of.
But in this specific case, in this category, it's action painting.
Action painting.
And we'll get to that in a second.
We will. I forgot the train I was on just now. Anyways. We're gonna keep
abstract expressionism.
Abstract expression. It's called abstract expressionism because it is an expression of the artist. What I kind of see it as his
feeling
his
and the rage
inside himself comes outside, projected onto this world.
And his alcoholism.
Yes,
because he was a heavy drinker.
Yes, very, very heavy, and apparently he lived like a very violent lifestyle, and you can really see that in his paintings. People. Jackson Pollock, this painting process specifically, destroyed the painting world. It deconstructed it because here's an artist.
This is painting just for the sake of painting.
Painting for the sake of painting. This is
not to render something, just to smack that paint on the canvas.
Exactly. Here's an artist who just took everything that was built upon and was like, screw that. Let's do this. It's so revolutionary. I'm sure people didn't like it at the time, and there are people that still don't like it. I'm sure there are people that still don't like it. But the beauty of this process, action painting, is that Pollock included his whole body in the process. Now, when I say that, I mean he laid a canvas on the ground, and just with
he didn't
paint.
use a brush. He just used like sticks and dripped it.
Yeah, well, he
over.
used brush, but just he didn't paint. He didn't use he painted, but he didn't use brush strokes or anything. He just dripped on. He dripped on there, and he moved not only his wrist, but he moved his arm. He moved his entire body. So his whole being is encapsulated in these paintings. Mm-hmm. So you have this guy who's sort of like walking around, and in some paintings you can see the ash from his cigarettes.
Yeah, there's like bottle caps and screws and things like that.
Yeah, and the beauty of this process, again, Pollock has been compared to when a jazz musician goes on a riff and
freeform,
exactly.
Freeform jazz,
improvising. Exactly. Look at when a jazz musician goes crazy on a guitar or like a saxophone. They don't know what's coming up next. It's sideburns, yes. They don't know what's coming up next, people. But they have control over it. They know that what they're making is they have complete control over it, even though they don't know what's gonna come up in the next few seconds. Mm-hmm. And that is pretty much the best way to describe Pollock's action painting process, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Fancy Dave, what do you got?
Yeah, it's mainly more about the process rather than the finished thing in a way.
It's not about the trip. No, what's that saying? Mm-hmm. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, and it shows because you see each individual, or you can see most of it at least. Each individual, like, can you call it a stroke? I'm not even sure. Or drip.
Drip, blob, thing. Yeah, whatever they're called. Either way, this process, if you actually took a really good close look at it, you can kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just see the steps that it took to get there. Like if there's a small thin line,
you can break it apart.
Exactly, you can break it apart, and you can for the first time in a painting, you can see what an artist did, like what approach they took.
Oh, I heard something interesting from someone.
Well,
said that.
Let me finish my thought really quick. If you see a thin line, that means his paint, he was going fast. His arms were moving fast. His body was moving fast. But there are parts where it blobs and it kind of puddles. Mm-hmm. That's where he was going slower. There's the thick lines. That's where he was going slower. So.
It's kind of related to the strokes and things. Apparently, they've been using statistics to like authenticate Pollock's.
Really?
Because he might have had like a certain patterns he might have repeated over and over.
That's interesting.
So they've used like mathematics to like authenticate Pollock's.
Wow.
And on top of that, from what I understand from this person telling me, was that like he may not have done this like intentionally, but maybe intuitively. He was looking while he was repeating these patterns over and over and over again. He was looking for the right one that would be pleasing, like in a general sense, to everyone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I never heard about that, so that made me think about this in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of pleasing everybody, most of his works do have this sort of like border
pattern in a way.
Frame.
Yeah.
You see this frame going on where like all the paint is collected, and it obviously by the center, that's where it all gravitates towards. But as it expands out, it stops right near the edges of the canvas. And I always loved that. It was kind of it's more pleasing to the eye when you can frame the chaos in his work. And it's really interesting that you bring up that mathematical thing, because this guy considered himself more close to nature than anything. He did. He actually said himself, "I am nature," and it's kind of true. The way he paints is so naturalistic. It's so fluid.
Primal.
It's primal, yeah. So to be using mathematics and like that kind of that's sort of a industrialized sort of process, or more digitalized, whatever it is. Just to use a process that's so away from from nature. It's, I think, kind of insulting to the man, but it does need to be needed. It's just ironic.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Final thoughts, Fancy Dave. What do you got?
Final thoughts?
Yes.
Let's see. Trying to think.
Well, I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, go first.
Okay. My final thought on this piece. Yes, your kid could do it. But first off, he didn't.
Yeah.
First off, is that yours?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
First off, he did it. And second off...
he wouldn't have had the intention to do this.
He wouldn't have the intention.
Well, at least with the intention that Pollock had.
And third, for me, the action painting process is probably one of my favorites. Oh man, that's kind of it. You know, like people, this is art because of what it brought to the painting world, what it stripped away.
This was a big step, like forward. Some people argue like backwards.
Yeah, you know what? It seems like a backward step, but in reality, it is probably more like the biggest leap, a huge leap a huge leap for the painting world in the short span of 5 years when this guy really started just kind of concentrating on that form. It's
although
yeah, go ahead.
Unfortunately, this also led to a lot of imitators without thinking about the actual thought process that went behind this in a way.
Yeah, so people
it became a shallow copy of it.
Unfortunately. Yeah. There are people that kind of just threw paint on canvas and called
that's
it art.
art, right?
That's art. It's art.
That guy did it.
If that guy did it, then I can do it too. No, people. Pollock. There's only one Pollock.
Did you hear about a little bit of trivia? That they might have championed Pollock during that time because they were actually using him as a political tool. Against Soviet realism.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know about that. Well, that's a discussion for another time.
Yep.
On the Art Bros. So, guys, Art Bros approved. Check out some more of his works. And subscribe to us and like us on Facebook if you haven't already. Me and Fancy Dave always bringing you cool things. So, guys, till next time, Art Bros out.
Art Bros out.